Good morning. It is now about 9:30 a.m. on Monday morning. The reading rush has been over for about 9.5 hours now. I wanted to just kind of film a little wrap up so you guys could get an overview of what I did and everything that happened this weekend. Before I get into all of the books that I read, I want to give you some statistics of what I've read. I did read 7 books. I wasn't expecting to be able to read 7 books, but I made it. I fulfilled all 7 challenges. I read 2,464 pages over the last week. Yeah, I can't believe it either. My best day was Wednesday, where I read 695 pages. My worst day was Friday, when I read 5. I earned 13 badges from thereadingrush.com, including all of the challenge ones, the read 7 books ones. I read a 5-star book. I was a 2019 reader. I completed the 2019 challenges. I read over 1,000 pages, and I made a Reading Rush YouTube video that you are watching right now. I didn't do any of the challenges though, but that's not what the badge said, was it? Let's get to talking about my books that I read. The first book that I read for the Reading Rush fulfilled my requirement for read a book all in one place. I did notice that most people read that one first because they just kind of wanted to get it over with when they couldn't move. I read Princess in Waiting by Meg Cabot. This is the 4th book in the Princess Diaries series. This follows Mia right after her and Michael first get together. If you've read or watched the movies, Michael's the same in that, even though most of the other stuff is not. Evie? Yes. Do you want to come and help me talk about them? I guess you only get to be partially in this. She's only 14 in the books, at least in the first few books, and so it's totally understandable that she's going a little crazy over this boy, Michael. She's trying to figure out if he actually likes her or not throughout the book. Spoiler alert, he does. I give this one a 4 out of 5 stars because it's so nostalgic for me. I love Meg Cabot. She doesn't really write much YA anymore, but growing up she was like the YA queen in my house, at least on my bookshelf. The second book that I read fulfilled the challenge for read an author's first book. That book was Cinder by Marissa Meyer. This was technically a reread for me, like you'll know if you read any of the previous vlogs. This is basically a sci-fi retelling of Cinderella. It's not something that I ever thought that I would like, but Marissa Meyer is awesome. She is the queen of writing something that you think you might not like and then loving it. So I think I have to check out Heartless, even though it doesn't really sound like something I want to read. She's my new favorite author. It's simple like that. The third book that I read fulfilled the challenge for watch a book-to-movie adaptation, and I read To All the Boys I've Loved Before by Jenny Han. This one was also a reread for me, but it's been about 4 years since I read it, and I didn't remember much about it. When I originally read this book, I only gave it a 3-star review, and I have no idea why. Reading this now, I loved it. It was 5 stars all the way for me. I love the world that Jenny Han was able to create. Just to give you a brief overview, this is about a girl who has very strong feelings, and when she has a crush on a guy, she will write a letter to him, basically to get all of her feelings out, and then she doesn't have the feelings anymore. Well, all of her letters accidentally get sent out, which leads to a fake dating scenario with one of the recipients of the letters. I mean, the plot wasn't what I loved about this. I loved the characters. Jenny Han just has this way of making you feel like it's a real world. It was amazing. I loved it. I can't believe I only gave this a 3-star on my first read through of it. I just can't. The next book that I read fulfilled the requirement for a non-human main character. That book was The Kingdom by Jess Rothenberg. This is about a futuristic world. Oh, okay, Evie's got it now. It's basically a futuristic world where a park that is very much like Disneyland has created 7 fantasists, which are robot-human hybrids. And they're supposed to be able to control them. Only our main character is one of these fantasists, and she starts having feelings that are not in her programming. On top of that, several several months after this, apparently the guy that she started having feelings for goes missing. They don't know where he is, and we get glimpses of what's happening in real time, and then we get to see bits of the aftermath with like trial transcripts and interviews, and you just get bits and pieces of the story as it goes along. I really enjoyed the build up to this story. I was engaged and interested, but the ending just fell a little flat for me, and because of that I only gave this book 3 stars. The next book that I read was not initially on my TBR, but once I read To All the Boys I Loved Before, I couldn't just stop. So I read P.S. I Still Love You, and I'm counting this one for reading a book with 5 or more words in the title. This is the sequel to All the Boys I Loved Before, quite obviously, and it was great. I rated this one 5 stars as well. I won't say much about the plot because I don't want to spoil anything, but 5 stars as well. Jenny Han created this awesome world that's, I mean, it's the real world. It's contemporary. It's great. I love it. And because I couldn't just stop with P.S. I Love You, the next book fulfills the requirement for a book I meant to read last year, and that is Always and Forever, Laura Jean by Jenny Han. This is the 3rd book. It deals with Laura Jean as she is trying to make decisions about college. That's all I'll say about it. But this one, I didn't love it quite as much as To All the Boys I Loved Before and P.S. I Still Love You. I only rate this one a 4 star, and I guess it's probably more of a 4.5 star. It is just a slight step below the other books. Oh, with this new angle, Evie is not in the camera. How sad. I'm sure she's really, really torn about it. The final book that I read fulfills the requirement for a book with purple on the cover. That is Scarlet by Marissa Meyer. Once again, I couldn't just stop with Cinder. I was actually able to find this book for a pretty good price, brand new on Amazon, so I jumped on it, and even though I had technically fulfilled the requirements with the first 6 books that I read, I decided to make it an even 7 for 7, and I took away the book that I was double counting for purple on the cover and went with Scarlet. This series is awesome. I love Marissa Meyer. I rated this one 4.5 stars. It was great. I can't wait to read Cress, which is in the mail and should hopefully be coming sometime this week. Anyways, that's what I read for the reading rush. I cannot believe that the reading rush is over. Like, it's done. I read 7 books in a week and I can't believe it. I didn't even read 7 books this month. Maybe I did, actually. This month was a slow reading month until this week hit. I think it's because I was planning on saving some of these books for the reading rush, and I didn't feel like reading anything else. And so when I was finally allowed to read the books, it was just like, yes, reading! Yeah, you like reading too, huh, Evie? I hope you're having a great day. If you liked what you saw, feel free to click subscribe. You can also follow me on my social media, which I will link below. Really, Evie? She's trying to do my intro for me. Let's see. You want to do the intro? Or the outro? It's an outro. I hope you have a great bookish day, and I'll see you next time.